Ads for the Brave New World. So immersive you could drown. But of course, drowning is forbidden. Blocked like any other exit from paradise.
Kara? James? Kara? No, fuck that. No way. Forget it, Chief.
You're already on the line.
James. Sarah Cott. Sarah. James Carroll.
Let me go pull some strings. Back in a minute.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at Nobody Wants to Die. This will be a performance and review as I've actually finished the title. So going over performance, this is Unreal Engine 5 and the game struggles quite a lot. You will need to put everything on low and use Intel's XeSS. I find that has the best performance for frame rate, but you're going to be dipping in between the mid to low 20s at points and up to 30 plus in others. Unfortunately, that's just the case, and there's a few other technical issues I must go over, but don't get me wrong, I really like this game. If you've been following me for a while, I don't always finish games, but I actually finished this one because I really enjoyed it.
This is the best part.
Even on Steam Deck. As you can see here, the frame rate is chugging quite a lot.
Me to question you.
But the upside of that is that there's no real combat in this game. If you're unsure what this game is, it is a investigative, narrative-driven game. So you go through a few different areas with your little time hand thing, and you investigate some murders. And it's really, really interesting stuff as it's set in the future,
Would you love me
2030, I think,
an ugly show?
like 23
like
something or other, so in the far-flung future, but in the noir style setting. I really quite enjoy it. Blade Runner-ish almost, you could say. Very inspired by, which is great by my thoughts. This game's got some weird reviews by some other large publications, like, oh, it feels like a 360 title, blah blah blah. It's really weird. I'm not sure why you would hate on it. You know, it's not hurting you in any way. So yeah, frame rate in this game can be quite up and down, but like I say, there's no combat and there's no chance of failing things due to frame rate. So if this is your only way to play it, definitely playable. But there is I had one quite major bug basically at the end of the game, which I didn't realize, and then so what I ended up having to do is install the game on my PC and play the ending, but I didn't realize it was literally the final cutscene, or the final, basically the final cutscene wouldn't play. I would just get a black screen on my Steam Deck. The music would be playing, everything else would be working. I could push the pause button, the menu would come up, but I simply could not finish the game. It just would not load the final cutscene. I did get in contact with the developers and let them know. They suggested doing a file verification, which I did. Unfortunately, that didn't fix the issue, so I was in such a, not rush, but I really wanted to get this title done. And so what I ended up doing was installing on my PC and watching the last 5-minute cutscene. So it was a kind of a letdown that I had to install the whole game on my PC just to see a 5-minute cutscene, basically. So hopefully they will get that sorted in a future patch. Most of these things usually do get fixed, so it's not something to get overly concerned about. But buyer beware, if you can't play it on a PC and you are unable and the ending hasn't been fixed for Steam Deck specifically, it could have been just a personal issue for me on my Steam Deck OLED. But so in the comments below, if you've also picked this up and are playing it and you've also finished it, please let me know if you had this issue. It would be great for me to know if it's a me issue or if it's more widespread. And the one other issue, technically speaking, about this on Steam Deck, apart from frame rate and the ending not working, is there is only a handful, I would say 3 times at most. So at the very start here, at the very start when you saw at the start of this video, you're supposed to be watching a movie in like a floating car like movie thing. Unfortunately, the videos do not play. We're missing the codec, and I wasn't sure what one to download using Proton Tricks, so I just left it and wanted to see if it would impact my game in any way, shape or form. And luckily it doesn't really affect anything. There's 2 small animated cutscenes at the start. There's one at the very start which explains Aetheryte, which is what the game's based about, which is keeping humans immortal. And yeah, like I was saying, there's also that cutscene where there's meant to be a movie playing in the background at the car lot, which also doesn't work. And later on, without spoilers, there's some security footage you watch, but I couldn't see it because there's no the codec isn't working for those video files. So that's just something to keep in mind, but they didn't take away from my experience, just in case that's something that that's what this video is for, is to inform you guys for Steam Deck purchases, if it's going to work and if it's not going to work. And this game it works 99%, but literally that last 5 minutes does not work, which is, not unplayable, but because I really want to suggest this game to everybody, but it does have a price tag in New Zealand dollars that's $40, so I'm not sure what it is in US or UK or anything like that. I haven't done the conversions or looked at the pricing. So it is, in New Zealand dollars, $40. So it's, it's an indie price, but it's still it's a AAA. It really feels like a AA product. You're not getting, everything's voiced, beautiful, really, really great voice actors. I've got to hand it to the voice actors. It really, they do the part great. The main 2 actors really bring it to life. For James and for Sarah, the main 2 players in this, not when I say players, the main 2 people you're interacting with the most, they really sell it really well. So I just wanted to get that out there. So would I recommend this game? Yes, but with the caveat, if they haven't patched it by the time you pick it up, you may not be able to see the ending if you don't have a PC, or they never get around to it, or it's not really, because this game is not verified on Steam Deck, so they don't have to fix it per se, but it's just something to keep in mind of. There may be a patch that someone brings out, or there may be a codec that maybe fixes that issue. Maybe the final ending of the game is actually a video that's not playing. Maybe that's what it is. That's just coming to me now. That could be what that is, but I'm not 100%. So in the comments below, if you've picked this up or if you know anyone else, please let me know if the ending is working for you. So all in all, performance is all over the place. There's lots of alpha effects in a lot of these detective cases here. You see the trees burning on the left, and then the second level, without giving it away, there's also a lot of burning going on. And so what happens is the frame rate just tanks. But as you can see in the footage behind you, you're not in any rush to do anything. It's not really affecting gameplay because you've got no shooting, there's no platforming, there's none of that. So if you can survive a bit of choppiness and you want that, not point and click adventure game, but that narrative, it's very much a narrative game, but it's not you could say it's a walking simulator, but it's not really, because you are investigating and putting clues together, and then you have investigation boards after you do an investigation and you work out the order in which things happened or why people were doing such and such. So it's not straight up a walking simulator like something like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, or that just comes to mind because that's the last one that I'd played. There is actual gameplay here, as you can see. You're searching for things using your X-ray camera and taking photos and using your UV light and stuff like that. So yes, I highly recommend, but I did get this as a review copy, so my thoughts may vary because this game came in for me at about 7 hours for a complete playthrough. Okay, so 7 hours is on the shorter side for a lot of people. I really liked it. It meant I could get through it in a weekend, which I really like. I wish more games were 7 to 8 hours. It's nice just to be able to play through something and put it down, and I don't have to go back to it. There is multiple endings, which I will get to. Maybe I'll do a spoiler. I'll put up a spoiler warning if I start talking about the story. But there is multiple endings you can get, and there's about 4 main choices. They don't tell you what ones, but there's 4 main choices because I had to Google it because I was curious. That will affect your ending. Personally, while it sounds great to have different endings, it's also really shit when you get the dumb ending, right? I didn't get the worst ending, but I didn't get the best ending because I'm not sure what I've done wrong. I need to double check what. I think a couple of choices I made were incorrect. And it's just to feel bad because I ended up just watching the other endings on YouTube because I was like, well, I'm not going to play through it 4 more times because they don't give you... It only auto saves. There's no manual save, so you can't reload and go back and try different things. You have to replay through the whole game. And of course, at 7 hours, it's not a massive undertaking per se. I just personally don't have the will to play through the game again just to get the best ending when I can just look at it on YouTube and watch a 5-minute video of it. So my recommendation is it's a big yes from me. But I understand with the price, the length, and the fact that it's not fully compatible with Steam Deck, as like I say, the ending doesn't work for me on Steam Deck. It's a hard sell for a lot of people, so maybe keep an eye on this, put it in your watch list, and if you see a special on it or you feel like just a palate cleanser, that's what it felt like to me after playing the first Descendant, and just that good old looter shooter. It's nice to break it up with a really slow paced story narrative driven game with great VO, great story, and makes you think about some stuff. So that's my overall take on this game. It's I wouldn't say it's a must play, but if you're into that cyberpunk, it's not cyberpunk, is it? It's cyber noir future, with the 1930s cars, but they're flying and they have just the cool stuff going on in here. I really can't say enough good things about this game, but I also understand why for people it will be a bit of a turn off if your Steam Deck version doesn't work as intended. So just a big thing to keep in mind, right? As you can see in the footage behind you, if this looks interesting to you, then this might be up your alley. If you've been with my channel a long time, I kind of like these games. I don't often do them. Like the last one of these I kind of play. Well, no, I wouldn't think The Sinking City is a bit more of a full-fledged game, isn't it? Because it's got shooting and this and that. But I do like these games from time to time, and I think I'll play more of them. Just if they're within that 10 hour, which is it's great. I finished this over the course of the weekend, which really made me happy because it was a story from beginning to end, and I really enjoyed every moment of it. So I am going to put a spoiler warning up and talk about the end of the game and some other story related things because I really want to talk about them because I really like where this game goes with some of this stuff. So I'll be back after a short countdown.
He fell from there. If he cut himself on the railing, there should be blood on it. Blood. I'll come back to that later.
I also want to point out how awesome the music in this game is. So if you're in the spoiler thing, and I'm not talking about spoilers now because the music is actually amazing in this game, and it really, really sets the mood for this title. So if you've played this, like, this is more for people that have played this game than anyone else, but this is my take. It's like the real villain. So you're chasing this murderer, right? Supposed murderer of these people, but from what I gather, the real villain is the Icarite system itself. So it's entangled in your brain, right? And that's where you can pull it out and go to a new shell / body. But from what I can tell, this immortality Icarite stuff doesn't really work over like super long term. So from what I gather, it's like once you reach that 100 years, it starts to like fight back almost, like it's unnatural to be alive this long, and the brain that's within the Icarite is just rebelling almost, like it wants to die, it's had enough. And over multiple transfers and gaps start to develop, and the Icarite almost creates its own, with these gaps and these photocopies of memory, like its own, what's the word, like its own consciousness, alter ego inside of itself, like fighting against the host almost, as like, I want to destroy this so I can rest almost. It's a really cool idea, and it's like some people become, psychologically damaged, and that's why they do the tests to make sure that they're synced with their shells and that they're not getting the Icarites like working correctly. But it ends up like the Icarite itself like thinks, it's wrong, and it wants them to hate immortality. It's a really cool idea that the system that mankind built to live forever is actually rebelling against that its creation, because it gets its life of its own within the people. And it becomes more apparent as time goes on. The people that have been over 100 years start to develop this problem, or had multiple shells. And then those alter egos almost collaborate with each other to bring down the system. And that's what the game is about, is like a whole lot of these long-lived immortals, alter egos taken over to bring down the system, to stop and basically create a riot within the city of New York to like overthrow the Icarite system. That's where I think I'm pretty sure that's what I've got. And if you've got anything to add to that, please let me know what you think. But Icarite is weird because it's quite cruel, and it doesn't really care about how it achieves it. It's just like burn everything down. I think, is it Dr. Selma kind of says a little bit at the end there that she's learnt that over 100 years it really starts to show itself in a way that's not well. And then the cutscenes where you're trying to see your wife, the Icarite's like binding you and you can't release. And to get to your wife, who's finally released herself from the Icarite. So it really comes down to the Icarite is bad, but it's bad, but it also wants to not be bad by freeing everyone from it. But everyone wants to live forever. So it's a really cool immortality story, I think. And there's also like, it just has the side story with Sarah is also really interesting, I found, with her giving her body out to make money and stuff like that. Like, it's all really quite full on and great to see. And these developers have put so much time and effort into this. It's unbelievable, and I really appreciate what they've created here. No matter what some of these other weird reviews are saying about it, like it's from the 360 era with seeing your dead wife and stuff. I just saw this headline and it really pissed me off, and I was like, there's no need for that. Like,
You're lucky I don't need
you know, these guys are doing something you couldn't do. They, you know, those fucking writers couldn't make this game. And I'm saying that as someone who's literally dabbled in Unity and had very little success. Developers need way more respect for what they've been able to accomplish here. I mean, I would love for this game to get Steam Deck verified and have a way better performance on Steam Deck, but I think that's an Unreal Engine 5 problem more than anything else. But with that, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great one. Catch you later, guys.
Not much time has passed. I feel like I'm taking them more and more often.